You are Locked On Bruins Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Aye. Fours up, Bruin Nation. What is going on? And welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On UCLA Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single UCLA football game right here on the Locked On UCLA YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On UCLA audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson. Spent 4 years covering UCLA sports, UCLA football, men's and women's basketball, and a few others with the Daily Bruin. Class of 2024, was born and raised a Bruin. My mom's an alum. My older sister's an alum. My aunt's an alum. Bruin blue, Bruin blood from the beginning. I've covered this team. I've been a fan, all that good stuff. And like all of you, I am extremely frustrated anytime UCLA loses to USC at anything. I absolutely despise those people, okay? And the elephant in the room, we'll jump into the show. You know, we're going to talk about the first half. We're going to talk about the second half. We're going to talk about where UCLA goes from here. Before I do, shout out to everybody in here. I know the game ended a while ago. I'll be honest, I was at work. Thought I was going to be able to get off in time. Was not able to. Such is life working in professional sports, but not complaining about it at all. But I'm glad I'm here. Watch the game just like all of you. And unfortunately, like I was getting at, I hate losing to USC at anything, at any time. I despise it. When I was at the Daily Bruin, we would play against the Daily Trojan in a football game the night before the actual UCLA USC football game. And the high school competitive, high school athlete in me would come out and it would get ugly, right? Playing against the Daily Trojan and those people, whether it's that, whether it's anything, whether it's when I was in the den protecting that Bruin Bear statue on campus, from some idiots at USC coming over in their Range Rovers with daddy's money, trying to get paint on our Bruin statue, right? I hate USC. And anytime you lose to USC, it sucks. Now, this is one of those years where we came in expecting to lose. And that sucks almost more than losing the game itself, is when you come in expecting to lose, because it takes out all the fun that comes with rivalry week. Yes, I absolutely despise USC. I absolutely hate them. University is second choice. University is spoiled children. You name it. I have a few friends. It's hard to call them friends sometimes, but I have a few friends who went to USC. I had an old boss who went to USC. And they told me in the days leading up to this, Gavin, we know that you expect to lose. We know that we expect to win, but you're not talking trash like you used to, right? You're not looking forward to this game like you used to. And there's been times in my life, of course, all of our lives, where UCLA is an underdog playing against USC in a football game. Bigger underdogs than they were today, probably, a few of those times. But something about this year was different. It just feels like UCLA football went through the roller coaster of all roller coasters this season. And we got to this game not only not expecting to win, really not only not expecting to even keep it close, but it just felt like there's too much going on with this program right now to even fully get invested into this game. And that's a shame. That's a shame for USC fans. It's a shame for UCLA fans, whether, as much as I hate all of them and talk so much trash on Twitter to all of them, and they talk so much trash to me. Go into the replies of my tweets right now. You will see it. But it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. And we, as UCLA football, did not hold up our end of this rivalry by being even respectable coming into this game. So the hoopla wasn't there. On the USC side, it's being frustrated that they lost to Oregon. It's being confused by Lincoln Riley rumors. It's being confused because Malachi Lemon and Jacoby Lane aren't even starting this game, right? It's not, hey, we hate UCLA. It's going to be a close game. Hopefully we can get this win. And on the UCLA side, it's what the heck happened all offseason with Nico? What the heck happened in those first 4 games with Deshaun Foster? He's gone. What the heck has happened where we had the high of all highs, beating Penn State, winning 3 in a row after the 0-4 start, came crashing down back to life. We still want the AD gone. We still don't know who our head coach is going to be next year, although there are rumors about that. But it felt like our season especially was so all over the place that there's been years where we've been bad. I mean, it's not that long ago where I was covering this team and I'm sitting there at the Coliseum waiting to hear if this is Chip Kelly's last game after the game, right? There's rumors coming out the night before, Bruin Report Online posting that it's already confirmed Chip Kelly will be fired. I was a outspoken anti-Chip Kelly person at that point. We go to the Coliseum. I'm in the press box next to the LA Times, next to whatever, everybody. And we are all sitting there stunned as UCLA destroys USC. After the game, we're asking Chip Kelly about his job security. We're asking him about his ability to get this win. Alex Johnson, pick 6. Crazy game. But even coming into that game, before the upset, half the reason we got the upset is because despite all the question marks about Chip Kelly's job security, despite an underwhelming season, it still felt like there was some excitement for this rivalry game because it's still USC, it's still UCLA, it's still the Pac-12, it still means a lot. And between all the confusion of Big Ten and SoFi and, new coach and all of this, it feels like there's so much confusion that we just lost sight of what this game means. I mean, we know there was headlines throughout the season or throughout the week of having to inform half of our roster what this rivalry game even meant because half of them weren't there. So, yes, you're exactly right. Here, SS says it's always tough to get excited about a rivalry game when you go in there with only 3 wins. I agree. But I think there's other seasons where if you go in with 3 wins, but there's a thing or two to be encouraged about or at least something to unify around, it's different. We have a coach, Tim Skipper deserves so much credit for making this an interesting season, but we have a coach we know he's not going to be there next year. We have a quarterback who probably won't be there next year, as we have a USC fan asking. I think he is gone. You don't even know if you're playing at the Rose Bowl anymore. You hardly feel like this rivalry has the same level of tradition and excitement as it should because it's not even a Pac-12 game. USC's already worried about keeping the Notre Dame rivalry. Right? There's just so many reasons. They don't even like Lincoln Riley. So it was just an underwhelming week coming into this one. And I'll be honest, when I watched the first half, when I see 10-7, all that went away. And for a second, I'm thinking we have a shot to shock the world, to troll all the USC people that were talking so much jazz all week and all, day and weeks leading up into this one. Whenever I said anything about UCLA, a USC fan was in there to remind me that they were going to beat us by 400 points. The question on USC Twitter and USC fan bases and everything this week was not if they were going to beat us, it's by how much. And so in the first half to do what we did, I know it was not an impressive outing by us. I think that first half was more, wow, USC, not impressive at all, more so than, wow, UCLA impressive. But the defense deserves credit. Special teams absolutely deserves credit with the blocked the blocked field goal, defense held its own. UCLA had 1 nice drive in this ball game. Could have been 2. That I know that's the play that really decided it in some people's mind. Nico slides. He's called a yard short, but also not called for roughing the passer. We have to settle for 3. It's only 10-7 at half. Could have been 14-7 at half. If it's 14-7 at half, this game probably looks a little bit different. But at the end of the day, USC is just a better football team than UCLA. I know that it's fun to make fun of Lincoln Riley. It's fun to make fun of the fact that they haven't reached the levels that USC fans think they should reach. But no one's going to sit there and say that Tim Skipper is a better coach than Lincoln Riley. Nobody's going to sit there and say that UCLA's roster is better than USC. And nobody's going to sit there and say USC being at home doesn't help a little bit, even though home teams have been really bad in this rivalry as of late. Come on, all things are going towards USC winning this game. That's why they're huge favorites. And, that's why they won this game. So first half, I agree. Trojans first in here saying, love the first half. You could sense some of the rivalry magic in that first half. I agree in the sense that the only argument you can make for UCLA being ahead at halftime was because it's a rivalry game, right? And that's why normally, even when one team is favored, you always say you never know how it's going to go. You asked me 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was telling people, all my people, hey, it's going to be a 50-50 game when UCLA plays SC because it always is. But last week, when people were asking me that after that Washington game, heck no, I was not saying that. I was saying we are going to get destroyed. I hate to admit it. And so first half, we deserve a lot of respect. I think Tim Skipper, it's a shame that it ends the way it ends with all these losses in a row. But at least in the first half, you saw what Tim Skipper meant to this team this season. A bunch of guys that were broken after one of the worst starts we've ever seen. And he gave them life, them being the players, them being the fans. He gave us all life. And in that first half, he gave us a few things to be excited about, a reason to obviously keep watching this game into the second half. It could have been 14-0. It could have been 21-0. It could have been like the Washington game or the Ohio State game or the Indiana game. It was not like that. It was a game that was close going into the second half. Tim Skipper did his job. But at the end of the day, the old ghosts of this year's Bruins team came back to bite us. False starts, holdings, sacks, negative play after negative play after negative play. You're never going to be able to upset a team with all those negative plays, especially when on the other side, their only negative plays were a couple missed kicks. And outside of that, in the second half especially, USC finally woke up. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that second half and also what's next for UCLA. There's coaching rumors. Of course, there's stadium rumors. We'll get into all of that after our break here on the Locked On UCLA Postcast. I'll be right back. Now, on this Rivalry Saturday, today's show is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift. Amen. And Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. Look, I've already used, I'm in a little bit of a pickle. I've already used Omaha Steaks as a gift before. And the reaction, it's great, right? Excitement when the box arrives and even bigger smiles when everything hits the grill. Now, normally you get someone a gift, you're nervous. You're like, oh, I'm screwed. I can't give them that gift again. But not with Omaha Steaks, right? The quality, it's exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks. I know you're going to like it. The variety is underrated, right? There's steaks, there's burgers, there's comfort meals, there's sides. They even have desserts. It's one of those gifts that truly fits anyone. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. Today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. Look, we love college football. Unfortunately for UCLA, college football, maybe not unfortunately to be honest, but college football is over. But you know what? The NBA, it's back, right? And there's no better place to get in on the NBA action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here live on the Locked On UCLA Postcast. UCLA falls to USC. It was a game that was close. It was a game that UCLA was actually leading in the first half, 10-7, but ultimately they still get crushed. 29-10 the final. Second half, all USC as USC outscores UCLA 22-0 in the second half. And really, the first half was the anomaly, right? The second half was the UCLA team that we saw throughout most of the season. False starts, holdings, and sacks. Guess who gets blamed for all of that? The offensive line, which was abysmal all season. Nico, didn't really show as much in the second half. The defense, it was bend but don't break in the first half, right? USC would have these drives, and then they would stall out with a field goal that they would miss. Stall out with a field goal that would get blocked. They did score one touchdown. In the second half, it wasn't stalling out. It was driving and converting. A couple big plays. Malachi Lemon, he's amazing. 30-plus yard touchdown for him. Iamaleava, he looked a lot better in this game than he did in last year's rivalry game, and that's saying something because he didn't even look that amazing in this game, but he was that bad in the rivalry game last year until that, drive to win it late. But at the end of the day, UCLA falls. A lot of mistakes by some players, right? Like people are mentioning here, there were drops, there was PI calls, there was holds. The players made mistakes in this one. I actually thought that if you look at the coaching staff, yes, 10 points, not really good enough, Jerry Neuheisel, but some of the execution was there, especially on that touchdown drive, a lot of short completions. But UCLA, at the end of the day, you only have 300 total yards of offense. You're never going to compete with teams that are better than you. And as the Greg so perfectly states, right when I'm about to get into it, finally, this embarrassing season is over. And that's where I want to end this show, because truly, this circus that was this season, we talked about, it's over. And as much as I love UCLA football so much and wish there was UCLA football every single Saturday, at the same time, this year did not make that the case, right? I think everyone, and that's part of the reason why leading up into this game this week, some of the excitement wasn't there. Everyone was just already grasping at the end. They just wanted to get to the end of the season. They didn't even want to finish this game, right? If UCLA was a 7-point dog and it was, having an average season, as much as you would want the season to end and look forward to brighter times ahead, you would still want to invest all of your emotional energy into this game. Not this year. We've already invested all of our emotional energy into Nico, into Deshaun Foster, into him getting fired, then into Tim Skipper, then into Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel, and into the upsets, and then into still wanting to fire Martin Jarman, and then all the losses. And now the basketball team isn't great. And now, we might leave the Rose Bowl. We're just exhausted. We want the season to end. And so it sucks, but it's finally over. And the only thing that can bring some excitement back to UCLA is if we make the right hire at head coach, right? Luckily, the recruiting actually has not been as bad as you would think for a 3-9 football team that also does not have a head coach for next year. Recruiting could be, should be worse in the country, and yet it's not, because guess what? We're still UCLA. And so for all the people that say we can't be elite, we're in over our heads for thinking UCLA football can be elite, then why the heck can we recruit decently well despite not having a coach and being 3-9? Because it's UCLA. So imagine if the team was good. Imagine if there was fans filling the stadium, right? Imagine if we had a head coach. That's why we have, hope and expectations. And guess what? There's a few guys who I think could maybe turn this thing around, and one is Mr. Chesney over at James Madison. You're asking if I think the Chesney rumors are true. I do think they're true. I've heard a few things as well. Nothing official, but it does sound like, it's like kind of the worst kept secret, the same way I do think Lane Kiffin to LSU is kind of the worst kept secret in college football right now. And hopefully that stupid saga will finally be done tomorrow. I do think it would be, silly to not think at this point, UCLA wants Chesney. We've known that for a couple weeks now. It does feel like Chesney wants Penn State. He's got the Pennsylvania ties. It's obviously a more attractive job. And so it feels like one of those things where Chesney wants Penn State, UCLA wants Chesney. Chesney's going to wait. He's also focused on winning, right? The same way, Lane Kiffin makes it this whole saga to, make everyone feel bad for him as he's about to get a $100 million contract. Chesney's doing the same thing in terms of, hey, I have a team to coach right now. We're having the best season we've ever had in our program's history. We're trying to sneak into the college football playoff. And yes, I want to go coach at Penn State, and I guess I would be okay with coaching at UCLA. But if UCLA wants me and they're not going to move on, it does not feel like there's a scenario where UCLA hires another coach until we get a no from Chesney. That's what it feels like right now. So Chesney knows, hey, I don't need to rush to say yes to UCLA. I can wait things out. If Penn State changes their mind and actually does want me, I'm taking that job in a heartbeat. If they don't, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to focus on James Madison University football. And when the season ends, I'm going to be the head coach of UCLA. Now, there are some people, and the rumors that some people are referring to in this chat, rumors being that it's going to be announced in the next 72 hours that Chesney's the head coach at UCLA. That I don't necessarily know if it's true, because everything I'm understanding, reading and trying to understand, again, it seems like Chesney would need to wait to hear that the Penn State job is full to then tell UCLA he's in. And even then, even if he tells UCLA he's in and there's an unofficial agreement, even then, he seems like the type of guy, And James Madison deserves the respect of the type of program to have him wait until the end of the season to announce it, right? So we'll see. I don't know. But if I had to put the odds at Chesney going to UCLA, I'd put it at 75% at this point. I really do think it's that high. I was a dreamer that thought Jedd Fisch would be an interesting one. But it does feel like Chesney, I'd give it a 75% chance at this point. The 25% chance is him going to Penn State, in my opinion. I don't think there's a scenario where Chesney doesn't go to Penn State and we don't get him. Cardinal and Bold here saying UCLA should get the SDSU head coach. No, thank you, in my opinion. I'm sorry, just not what I'm looking for. For me, it's really Chesney. Jedd Fisch was a dream. I actually wanted Jonathan Smith halfway through the year, but obviously that Michigan State project has failed, and now he's not even in the running. I know. We're looking at some other coordinators. Tony White, of course, being one of them. But I'm one of these people that, outside of a few superstar coordinators, I'm talking the Will Steins of the world, right? If it's not one of those superstar coordinators, I think going for lesser head coach at a lesser program is the right move for UCLA at this moment. We need a full-blown culture shift, and it's way too much pressure to ask a guy who's never been a head coach to not only be a head coach, but be a head coach at a school where there are high expectations, maybe unrealistic expectations. Oh, by the way, you have to be an ambassador of the program. Oh, by the way, you have to be ready to, out-recruit. There's too many responsibilities. Deshaun Foster, part of the he failed us, but we failed him a little bit. We wanted him, a guy who's never even been a coordinator, to be not only the head coach, but the face of the program and an ambassador and an alum and the head recruiter. And guess what? He did the recruiting. He did the ambassador to some degree, but he couldn't do the head coaching to save his life, right? At least get a head coach who's already had a lot of responsibilities, like a Chesney. He's building a program right now, James Madison. He can build UCLA with recruiting, with being the face of the program, with actually being a good X's and O's coach as well. And, oh, by the way, hopefully he can galvanize the fan base and help fill this SoFi, if it's SoFi, or the Rose Bowl, if it's the Rose Bowl. But asking a coordinator to do all of that, to learn how to be a head coach and be a darn marketing major degree, master at the same time, it's too much. It's too much. So I want it to be a head coach. Jedd Fisch, already more proven, but Chesney would be okay. Those are the two. And I know we have someone in here saying Brett Brennan, second choice. I'm actually okay with that. Obviously, great end of the season for Arizona, capped off yesterday. Still, I think there's a huge gap. I think when you get to Brennan, then I maybe start considering a coordinator. I'd still maybe prefer Brennan to a Tony White. I would prefer a Will Stein to a Brennan, maybe even to a Chesney, but we're not getting Will Stein. So let's hope it's Chesney. And we'll go from there. But for now, the season is over, and it sucks to say it, but thank goodness the season is over, in the sense that this one was just so exhausting, so disappointing for most of it. We had a couple highs. Thank you, Tim Skipper. Thank you, Jerry Neuheisel. Thank you, Nico, for that. I don't think Nico comes back. I'll be honest, I don't really think Jerry comes back, which sucks. Maybe there's a chance he does, but it's going to be a complete rebuild for UCLA. Hopefully it only takes a year or two and not 5 years. And hopefully it's at a stadium that has fans in it. That's all I ask for at this point. But have a great rest of your Saturday. I know it's late. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll be back here live, not on this channel, on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel for the Locked On Rams Squad show. So if you are a Rams fan or an NFL fan, I'll see you there tomorrow afternoon after the game. It was a great year for Locked On UCLA. Obviously, last year I did this postcast on a separate channel within Locked On, of course, but a separate channel. Shout out to Zach for being an amazing sport and letting me, come do the post-game show here on this channel now. Obviously, he had his post-game reactions as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed double the content after every single UCLA football game. And I will be back here. The plan is for me to be back here next year as well. But take care. Go Bruins. Always be proud of our amazing school. It's still a whole lot better than USC, and we will be better than USC soon. I guarantee it. But take care. And one more time this season, hands up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA FSC. You guys might have won this one, but don't forget all the other ones that we beat you at. We're going to beat you in basketball this year. We're going to be back shortly football-wise, competing, making it interesting again, stealing a couple wins. Go Bruins. I love you all. Have a great rest of the year. We'll see you back here next season. Take care.